My name is Dawn Ladd and my company is Aurora Lampworks, located here in Bushwick, Brooklyn. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about my story of how I got into the lighting field. I'd like to say that I got a little bit of a head start because my mother named me Dawn, and the name means light. And the name of the company is Aurora, who is the Roman goddess of the dawn, so it kind of all hangs together. The way I got into the lighting business was I went to my first trip to Europe when I was about 28 years old, and I went to Harrods department store, which had an entire floor dedicated to Art Deco. I fell in love with almost every object in that store, and I ended up buying a lampshade. It was a mauve lampshade. I'd never seen a mauve lampshade before with long 10-inch fringe. And as a matter of fact, it's right above me, hanging here, and it has become, over the decades, Aurora's mascot. I carried that lampshade back to the States with me on my lap on a plane, and when I got back to New Haven, where the shop was located at the time, I asked a friend of mine, Linda, if she knew how to make lampshades, and she said, well, she'd never done it, but that she would give it a try. We would design the wire frames, get them made in New York City from an old-timer down here, and Linda would cover them, and we did all kinds of really unusual fabrics and fringes, and it was a very, very creative time. Yale University heard that there was a company, a local company, that was rewiring lamps and was making lampshades. So we immediately got involved with them and working on the restoration of all of the lighting fixtures on Old Campus. We were kind of acting in the role of not only the refurbisher or the restorer, but also of the lighting designer. And I remember being out in the middle of Old Campus on the ladder, holding up different fixtures with different light bulbs and sources in it, and saying, do you like this or do you like that? And it was literally like being, thrown into the deep end of the pool to learn how to swim. At Yale, with like a lot of institutions, there are different factions that have different priorities. So the historians wanted the fixtures to stay exactly the same, no changes whatsoever. The maintenance people, they just wanted a long-lasting bulb so that they didn't have to change them all the time. And the security people didn't care about any of the above, they just wanted a lot of bright light. I often will say that I got my education at Yale University, and in fact I think I really did, a hands-on. In 1990 I got the opportunity to move down to Brooklyn. That's where I've been ever since, all these years in New York City. No regrets. Oh, very, very happy to be in the city and working on fixtures of very iconic buildings and beautifying the city that I love. So when I think back on some of the projects that really stand out since I moved to New York, one of them has to be the Eldridge Street Synagogue. We were hired to not only restore the fixtures, but to replicate many of the fixtures that had gone missing over the years. The people at the synagogue were so lovely to work with. It was really a really great experience. One of the other highlights of my career in lighting was a sculpture project that I did. I had gone to a tour of the Chrysler Building with one of the lighting groups that I'm associated with. We went up to the very top floor, to the attic, where all of the famous spires are. All that those were 4-foot fluorescent tubes, just kind of stacked on top of one another. And I don't know what I thought would have been up there, but I didn't expect that, and there were kind of wires all over the place. I had the vision that I wanted to reuse these lighting, these fluorescent tubes. The sculpture hung down about 40 feet. It hung on fluorescent tubes. I took out the end caps, and so they became sort of the sheathing for the fixture, and the fixture was made of 2 wooden rings with the fluorescent tubes lined up all around them. So it made sort of like this kind of perfect circle of fluorescent tubes. I lit the old, dead, burnt out tubes from inside with new fluorescent tubes. And for me, it was the idea of reincarnation, of something that was seen by millions and millions of people, that here it would have ended up in a landfill, and here it was ending up with a new life as a sculptural piece. We are still working on many iconic historic fixtures, and I really love being a part of keeping the city I love beautiful and well maintained. I would say to anybody any women that are interested in the lighting field, to explore it. It's a small industry compared to other industries, but it's also very deep. And there are lots of different aspects that one can go into in the lighting world, whether it be manufacturing or manufacturer's rep, or restoration or design, lighting design. There's so many different aspects, and if you've gotten bitten by the lightning bug, stay with it and find your niche and how you can contribute. Thanks so much.